Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Monday, the 11th of May, 2015, and this is episode 128, Content Light. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. This week I did very little crafting. Well, that's not true, but it feels like very little comparatively because a lot of working and a lot of very busy things. Oh, P.S. Yesterday was Mother's Day in the US, so if you're a mom wherever, happy Mother's Day. I hope that yours was better than mine. It started out okay. We went to Penn Station, which is a sub shop. They grill your subs, and I got a Reuben, which was amazing. It's what I always get when I go there, and I only get Reubens when I go there. Like, I only eat Reubens when I go to Penn Station. It's just a very closed thing because I can't make them here because my kids wouldn't eat them. So anyway, we went there and that was fun. And then I went to knitting, and when I got to knitting, I had 3 missed calls on my phone. And they were all from Steve. So I called Steve and I was like, what's going on? He was like, your son just threw a fit and kicked over your gallon of paint onto your carpet. Awesome. So they cleaned it up mostly while I was gone and ran the carpet cleaner over it. He used 2 tanks of water. And I came home and I looked at it and I could clearly see that there was paint in the carpet. It's like an off-white carpet. Could clearly see a huge paint spot. So I put my hand on the wet spot and it came up white. So 22 tanks of water later in my carpet cleaner, part of it is coming up clear on my hand, but part of it is still coming up white. I had to go to work, so I put a tarp over it. So as soon as I'm finished recording this, I'm going to start working with the carpet cleaner again. Not excited about that, but it is what it is. Kids are kids. I wouldn't be upset if it was an accident, but he did it on purpose. So I think he was in trouble yesterday, and I think he's going to be in trouble today again because I'm still going to be cleaning it again today. I think that's fair. He's 6. He knows better. He knew better. As soon as he did it, he was like, oh, that was a bad idea. Anyway, knitting content. All the Small Things Craft Along is going on, and it runs May 1st through July 31st, 2015. Anything that you finish that is a functional thing by itself counts. So a blanket square, a hexapuff, a single sock, a single mitt, an entire blanket, pot holders. We have this many entries so far. I am going to get a mason jar and put the slips of paper in the mason jar and then draw from that because I like that idea. Both Allisons were like, that is an awesome idea. You should do it. So I'm going to do that. And, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill a sheet of paper with all of the entries and then cut apart the piece of paper. That way I don't have to keep track of where my papers are. I might change my mind later. Who knows? But this is how many we have. And guess what? I'm super excited because my sister is in the craft along. The little owl pot holders. That's my sister. She made a project using a pattern. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so proud. I'm proud of everybody. I'm really excited that everybody is joining. But I've been trying to get Amanda onto Ravelry for, I don't know, like forever years. Whenever her join date was, it's because I was like, you should join the site. But she hasn't used it. She has 6 posts total on Ravelry ever. In like 4 years or 3 years or something. I don't know, a very long time. So I'm super excited that she's joining and she's a part of it. And I'm super excited that everybody's joining. I love the pot holders that Amanda made. And I love the little fish bookmarks that Philippa made. They're so cute. Everything's great, but those are my 2 favorites. Sorry, everybody else. It doesn't mean that they're going to, you know, have a better chance of winning a prize, because it's all about what's going on here. But I love those. And I'm super excited to see what people are working on. You can post works in progress if you want in there. You know, because I'll be able to tell, I think, between a work in progress and a finished object. And pretty excited. I'm pretty excited about the craft along that we have going on. I have one finished object. Oh, wait. I said this at the end of last podcast, and I don't want to say it at the end of this podcast in case people don't watch until the end. So this coming Saturday, so probably 5 days by the time this goes up on YouTube, if you catch it right away, on the 16th of May, I will be at the Kentucky Sheep and Fiber Festival for almost the entire day. It's open from 9 to 5, and I will be there at 9 in the morning. I don't know if I'm going to quite stay until 5, but Lorraine and I, she's my knitting lady, we're planning on staying for most of the time. I do have to work that night at 7, and it is kind of a drive. So we probably won't stay right until 5, but we'll be there for a while. So if you see a big group of people spinning, I am probably with them or will be with them shortly. If you're going, I would love to see you there. That would be awesome. And if I don't see anyone there, it happens. I mean, it's the middle of Kentucky, so unless you live around here, probably not going to see you. I have finished object, and it was not started last week. I made a pair of fingerless mitts that are pretty short using yarn that I got from Claire at Knitting Group, and I don't know what it is. I believe that it was a Cascade, but I don't remember. It's sport weight, and I didn't weave in the ends because that would be, you know, silly to weave in the ends and actually finish the project. But I'm counting it as finished. I used the Duckies pattern by Samantha Hayes. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's for sport weight socks, so I just used it to make mitts, same cast on number, and I improvised a thumb gusset. I worked from the top down and then cast on some stitches for the thumb gusset, and then decreased as I felt worked. So I didn't do the lace on the palm because to me, lace on the palms of mitts seems like you're asking to catch it on something and rip it. So that's what they look like. I am pretty pleased with them. Very, very quick because they were only 48 stitches per mitt, and I knit them on US size 3, 2.5 or 3.25 millimeter needles. Yeah, I have to weave in ends and block them, but I am counting them done because they're not going to look different on my hands once they're blocked. They're just going to look different flat. And they're a gift, so I'm going to block them. If they were just for me, I would just wear them, but they're not. Works in progress. I worked on... This is the project that got the most work, and it didn't even get a lot of work. So I worked on my Delancey. I am up to the first stripe of color on both triangles because I'm working them 2 at a time. The pattern has you work 1 at a time, but then I would have to count each triangle separately, and I just, it's done by rows, and I don't like counting rows to begin with, so I didn't want to have to do it twice. So I worked mine 2 at a time on US size 9 needles, which I still didn't look up the millimeters. Sorry. The yarn that I'm using is Knit Picks Full Circle in the denim colorway and in the query colorway. So it's blue, and it's blue and kind of a charcoaly gray color. Very pretty. The pattern is simple so far, but I haven't done anything really. This is where I was last week. I just had the smallest, littlest, tiniest triangles last week. So it's some progress, but not a lot of progress. I worked on the mitts for Allegria, but I think I did like 2 rows. So not impressive at all. Not really worth showing you. 2 rounds, rather. I worked on ad hoc, but just barely. This is what it looks like. Last week I had started the black. I don't know how much I had started, but even if I had all of the black, it would still be not a lot. So I did the, this is my color A, and then I did the part where you stripe B and C together. I just didn't have a lot of knitting time. I had a lot of out time, wherein I took the mitts because it was a really easy, it's a 4-round repeat for the pattern, so that was really quick and easy and I could take it anywhere. Everything else is not so much travel knitting. So that's my ad hoc. I'm using US size 4mm needles, which is, or US size 4 needles. I'm having issues with this part today, the needles size, which is a 3.5mm needle, which is smaller than what the pattern calls for because I have slightly less yardage on my colors B and C. So I'm hoping with the smaller needle size that will help adjust for that. The black is Premier Serenity Sock in black. The green is Knit Picks Stroll Tonal in Canopy, and the gray is the gray-green color is Premier Serenity Sock that I over-dyed with Easter egg dye. So it's got a tonal quality to it instead of being flat. I also started the Galaxy mittens, which is the sample knit that I'm making for Leading Men Fiber Arts. But I'm still on the cuff, which is, it's fine. It's just on US size 0 needles and it's 1 billion stitches and it's ribbing for 2 inches. So I'm close. I'm at about 1.5 inches. It'll be fine once I get into the color work because the color work will be exciting and interesting and doing stuff. But I think by now you know how I feel about ribbing. So yeah, that's all my works in progress. I did make 1 barn raising square. So barn raising square, this is using the Daria Club colorway from January. And what is this color called? My Hormones Don't Rage? Yes, My Hormones Don't Rage. I just made socks using this. I did extra rounds of the border. Not extra rounds. I started the border color earlier because I didn't want to go back into the green on the outside. I just wanted it to be black. I like the green, but I liked the idea of having the black outside instead of going back to green. So I did that. The black is Premier Serenity Sock in black. Or is this Knit Picks Stroll in black? I can't remember. It's a black and it's a sock yarn and I think it's Knit Picks because I think it's a leftover piece that I used for this, but it doesn't really matter. It's just black. And that is square number 22. I have some new things. So I got the US size 0 needles and I said I was going to get them on Tuesday. I did not get them until Thursday because things kept coming up. And yeah, that was kind of frustrating. So I didn't get them until Thursday, so I couldn't cast on. And then I didn't cast on until Saturday because I just couldn't work up the moment of truth. I really hate casting things on. I'm sure I've said this before. I know I've said this before. I hate casting on. I don't hate starting something new. I just hate that first step where you're casting on and you're starting. It's not so bad for things that start with like 3 stitches or 10 stitches. Like toe-up socks, don't mind starting those so much. Cuff down socks, hate starting them because you start with the full number of stitches. Still like knitting cuff down socks. Sometimes more than toe-up socks. But I don't like casting them on. But then I cast them on, and working it is fine. The yarn is nice. It's Leading Men Fiber Arts in Darkest Hour. And I will be winding this up to start the color part soon. I should just wind everything all at once. It would be easier, right, if I just had things waiting. However, my ball winder is it's not working so well right now. I need to get a new one, so I'll probably be looking for one of those at the Sheep and Fiber Festival this weekend. If I find one, awesome. If I don't, whatever. I mean, I've had the ball winder for over 2 years now, and my kids help wind the yarn, and my siblings help wind the yarn, so it's been a little mistreated sometimes. Happens. I need something that works better than what I have. Mine gets it gets these things where yarn doesn't quite get wound in, so then it's wrapped around the other yarn, and yeah, that happens on every ball of yarn that I wind with that ball winder. My other new thing is I won some mini skeins from the Knitting Room podcast with Ellie Knitter, and she had a giveaway for mini skeins of Drops yarn. So this is what they look like, and it's got this cute little washi tape holding the bag closed. It's so cute, and these will be Hexapuffs immediately. Oh, P.S. I didn't work on Hexapuffs this week because I just didn't have time. But these will be Hexapuffs immediately because look at how pretty all those colors are. I might pick out a selection and make a barn raising square for myself because the Hexapuff blanket is for Gabriel, and I really like some of these colors, and the barn raising square blanket is for me. Mara has the mitered square blanket that I finished. Gabriel wants the Hexapuffs. I'm keeping the barn raising for me, so I'm going to use some of those to make a square. But also, she sent this lovely card. Look at how beautiful that is. I'm hanging this card up because it's so pretty. It needs to be viewed, and it has a nice little note in it. She sent this tea, which is Sweetly Twisted Black Tea, which, you know, I love tea. So, tea. There were some other teas, but Mara has commandeered them. I'm not sure where she stashed them. I'll find them eventually and then drink them. And she sent this lovely ring with stitch markers on it. So it is quite a large selection of the closed stitch markers, which I love. And they have green beads and white beads and green rings with white beads and just all sorts of beautiful stitch markers, which I'm super excited about. Very, very excited to use these stitch markers because they're just so pretty, and excited to use the mini skeins. I'm still reading the Pillow Book of Cordelia Ken, and I am that far, which is deceptive because I am reading the second Pillow Book, which is the one that I was telling you about last week, I believe, where you read one side and then the other. So this is what it looks like. Can you see? Right there. So it's got two separate headings. This is what book one looks like when you start it. So that's what it looks like. It's got the heading and it's the red pillow box. Well, book two is the green pillow box, but it's got two headings that are separate. And what you do is you read, it actually shows at the bottom, there's A and B. So you read I'm reading all A pages first and then going back and reading all B pages. So see A, B, and then turn a page, A, B again. So even though it looks like I'm that far, I still have to go back to page 200 once I finish this pillow book, and, well, 201, and then start reading all of the odd pages. I love this book so much. I'm not going to talk about it, though, because I talked about it a lot last week. Highly recommend it. Go get it. It's so good. I'll talk about it again next week because I won't be finished with it by then. And that's all I have for you this week. I know it's really content light. It was just a really busy week and not knitting busy. I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string, and I will see you next week. Bye!